Now, do you like picnics? I like picnics. Sitting on the grass, drinking fizzy drinks and eating nice cakes. Well, this story is called The Doll's Picnic. Sally Sutcliffe shouted up the stairs to her daughter, "Felicity, why don't you come down and help me make some cakes?" It was halfway through the school holidays, and Felicity was already having trouble finding things to do. She was in her bedroom, listening to her MP3 player and wishing she could be with some of her friends, but they all seemed to be somewhere else, having a good time in places like France, Spain, and Italy. Leo was happy enough. He was playing with his Lego, trying to make a spaceship. Leo did not wish to be disturbed. Felicity closed the door of her bedroom and went downstairs into the kitchen. "I was thinking of making some fairy cakes," Sally suggested in a bright and breezy way. "You know, those little cakes where we make 12 at a time in this baking tray." Sally showed Felicity a metal baking tray with 12 small cups in it where the cake mixture had to go. "Now, let's see what we need to make the cake mixture." Sally found the page in her recipe book and began to list the things Felicity would need to get out of the cupboard and fridge. Self-raising flour, eggs, butter, a little milk, custard powder, and, oh yes, I think we'll give it some extra taste with a bit of grating from this lemon peel. Felicity knew where everything was, and soon she was mixing the ingredients together with her mother's help. Sally had given her a large apron to wear because she knew things could get rather messy. Suddenly, Felicity's nose began to itch, and forgetting that her hands were very sticky with cake mixture, she scratched it. At that moment, Leo came in. He didn't want to make cakes. He just wanted to eat them. Felicity turned round and told him he would just have to wait. Leo began to laugh. "Ah, look, Mummy, Fizzy has got cake mixture on her nose." Ever since he was very small, when he could not say long words like Felicity, he had called his sister Fizzy. Felicity was not amused. "If you cannot be more helpful," she said, "then go away." "But I'm hungry," Leo complained. "You'll soon have your supper," Sally said, hoping not to spoil Leo's appetite for later on. "I can't wait," Leo persisted. "Oh, well then," Sally replied, "why don't you have a carrot? I'll peel it for you." Leo was astonished. "I'm not a rabbit," he protested. Then he turned round and ran out of the kitchen. As soon as the cake mixture was ready, Felicity took a spoon and began to plop a little of it into each of the 12 little cups in the baking tray. "There," said Sally, "I'll pop it in the oven and they should be ready in about 20 minutes. Then, if you can wait for them to cool, I'll put some yellow icing on them." Felicity couldn't wait to see what her cakes tasted like. It seemed ages for them to cook, cool, and have the icing spread on them. But in the end, Sally could say, "Right, I think we're ready now. Here are your cakes. I think you've done very well. They look fantastic." Felicity was very proud and asked if she could take a bite out of one of the cakes. "I only want to see what they're like," she said. "I'll only take one mouthful and have the rest after supper." Sally handed her a fairy cake, and Felicity bit into it immediately. It was beautiful and light. "I can taste the lemon peel as well," she said, and was very tempted to take another bite. Next day, Felicity had an idea. "Mummy, I think I'll take my dolls into the garden for a picnic." "That sounds exciting," Sally agreed. "Why don't you take some of the cakes you made yesterday and get some lemonade out of the fridge?" Felicity ran upstairs to her bedroom and opened the cupboard where she kept all her toys and dolls. She was looking for a very special box. It was made of wood and had a lid that you had to slide open. Felicity found it at the bottom of the cupboard, part hidden by her doll's house. She carefully retrieved the box and put it on her bed. Then she slid the lid open. Now, Can you guess what was inside? It was a doll's tea set, and a very unusual one. It wasn't made of plastic, rather it was made like the ones grown-ups have. It was a porcelain tea set. There were 6 tiny cups and saucers, plates, a sugar bowl, milk jug, and teapot, and all of them were beautifully decorated with tiny orange flowers. There were even tiny spoons, sugar tongs, and a tea strainer. The tea set had belonged to Felicity's granny. She had been given it when she was a little girl, just like Felicity. Next, Felicity decided which dolls to invite to her picnic. That was very easy, because she always chose her favourites, the rag doll, the kangaroo, and the woolly rabbit. There was another doll she had. It looked like a pretty young lady and was just over 20 centimetres tall and made of plastic. She had long blonde hair and a whole wardrobe of different clothes that Felicity had been given at Christmas and on her birthday. The doll was called Petra, and Felicity decided that today she would put Petra in a blue dress with a little silver belt around her waist. To finish, Felicity opened the top drawer of her little desk where she kept Petra's small hairbrush. Felicity brushed Petra's hair until it was nice and straight, and then she tied it up with a little blue ribbon. At last, Felicity was ready to go out and take the dolls on their picnic. Felicity thought about putting everything in her knapsack, but soon realized it wouldn't all fit. So, instead, she went outside to the garage where she kept her toy pram. Into it went the dolls, the box tea set, and a little bag containing 2 fairy cakes. Felicity set off down the garden along the path by the lawn, past the big pond, and through the orchard, until she came to a very quiet and pretty place. It was where the old oak tree stood. "Oh, this will be a nice place to have our picnic," Felicity said to the 4 dolls sitting comfortably in the pram. Felicity stopped under the old oak tree, then began to take everything out of the pram. She arranged the dolls, sitting them next to each other. She opened the wooden box containing the tea set and put a little plate and cup and saucer in front of each doll. Then she took a fairy cake out of the bag and broke it into little pieces to put on the plates. But there was a problem. "Fiddlesticks," she said, searching inside the pram. "I've forgotten to bring the lemonade." She decided to go back to the house and see where she had left it. "I won't be long," Felicity said to the dolls as she ran off back through the garden. As soon as Felicity got to the house, she raced into the kitchen and almost bumped into Granny MacDonald. "My, oh my," said Granny MacDonald, clinging on to the back of a chair. "What's the big rush, Felicity?" "Oh, sorry, Granny," Felicity apologized. I didn't know you were here." "Just passing by," said Granny MacDonald. "I thought I'd come and see how you're all getting on." Felicity and her granny went into the lounge. Sally was sitting on the sofa, and Leo was on the floor playing with a large toy bulldozer. They all started to talk, and Felicity soon forgot about her doll's picnic. Meanwhile, back at the old oak tree, there were some very surprised Tiddlewits. They had seen Felicity near their home, and had decided to hide until she went away. They had no idea what she was doing there until they saw the dolls, the tea plates, cups, saucers, and little pieces of cake. Now, because Felicity had not come back, Mrs. Tiddlewit said to Mr. Tiddlewit and the children, "I think someone must have told her we live here, and she's left all these presents for us. How very, very kind of her." So all the Tiddlewits started to pick up all the plates, cups, saucers, and pieces of cake to take them inside their house under the old oak tree. "I don't know what these other things are for," said Mr. Tiddlewit, stroking his chin and wondering what the dolls were doing there. "Neither do I," said Mrs. Tiddlewit. "But look at the beautiful dress on that girl there." Mrs. Tiddlewit was looking at the blue dress Petra was wearing. Petra was only a little bit bigger than Mrs. Tittlewit, so Seraphine suggested, "Mummy, maybe that's a present too." So Seraphine and Mrs. Tittlewit undressed Petra and took the dress inside the old oak tree. Mrs. Tittlewit tried it on immediately. "Look, it's perfect," she said. "All I have to do is let the waist out a bit and shorten the hem, and then it will fit perfectly." "Yes, but I don't want to see you going outside in it," warned Mr. Tittlewit. "It's bright blue, and you could be seen a mile off. Then there'd be trouble." So Mrs. Tittlewit agreed to keep it just as a party dress, only ever to be worn indoors. When Granny MacDonald finally left to go home, Felicity suddenly remembered about the dolls' picnic. She rushed back to the old oak tree with a bottle of lemonade, only to find the entire tea set, the cakes, and Petra's dress had disappeared. All that was left were the pram, the wooden box, and 4 sorry-looking dolls. Felicity was both worried and puzzled. She looked everywhere, but found nothing. Then suddenly she had a thought. "I bet that naughty Leo has been here and is playing a trick on me, hiding all my picnic things." Felicity ran back to the house in search of Leo. "Where are my picnic things, Leo?" demanded Felicity crossly. "What picnic things?" Leo protested. "I haven't seen your stupid picnic things. I was here all the time with Granny MacDonald." Felicity then looked for her mother. "Mummy, I put my picnic things under the old oak tree, and now they're all gone," she wailed. "Oh dear," Sally soothed. "Maybe a bird or something has taken them and scattered them about. They'll turn up sometime." "It couldn't be a bird," insisted Felicity. "How could a bird take off Petra's dress?" Felicity decided to go back to the old oak tree to have another look. As she was passing the vegetable patch, she saw Jacob. "How are we doing there, young Felicity?" he shouted out in a friendly way. "Someone's stolen my tea set and Petra's dress," Felicity explained, almost in tears. Then she told him exactly what had happened. Jacob listened with interest, and when Felicity had finished, he said, "Now, Felicity, I want to tell you a big secret that you mustn't let anyone else know about." Jacob then went on to tell her about the little people, where they lived and how good they were for the garden. "Felicity, I know it's difficult for you, but they probably thought you had left all those things as a present. You see, I leave them things too, and when I go back, I see they've all been taken. I'm sure they would never ever want to make you unhappy." Felicity had no difficulty understanding and believing what Jacob had said. She soon accepted the loss of her picnic things. Indeed, she went further. She began to leave things under the old oak tree, things like corks from wine bottles, old handkerchiefs she didn't need, and an empty yogurt pot. They all very quickly disappeared. The corks became stools for Pickle and Pumpkin, the handkerchiefs were turned into shirts and sheets, and the small yogurt pot became a tub where Mrs. Tittlewit did all her washing. The Tittlewits were very, very grateful to the strange girl that brought these gifts. One day, Felicity was putting a small piece of cake under the old oak tree when she saw next to it a little bouquet of flowers, and in the centre of it was a very small piece of polished wood. When she looked at it closely, she realized it was an exquisite carving of a girl's face. It was beautiful, and if she had known, it looked just like Seraphine. Mr. Tittlewit had made it for Felicity. Felicity went home with this little treasure and never told anyone about it. She kept it secretly in the bottom drawer of her small desk, only getting it out to look at when nobody was around.